Hi everyone, and welcome to an episode of Legal Tings. Today we're talking about what a snapshot of the criminal case process and its key stages looks like. What are the different stages in a criminal case process? What takes place at each of them, and what should you be thinking about if you're trying to get yourself out of trouble? Every criminal case starts at the beginning in very much the same way. Something first has to take place, an incident, such as a fight between people, someone stealing or taking something, or some other disagreement or incident that must happen. That's the first thing that happens in the criminal case. After the incident, nothing actually happens next unless somebody makes a report to inform the police or authorities. The report is then the next thing that happens in the criminal case. A report can be made by an eyewitness, a bystander, the complainant, or the victim, and it could be in the form of a call to the police hotline, a report submitted online, on the police website, or someone walking into the police station to file the report. What the report does is to inform the police of the incident and bring it to their attention. But just doing this doesn't mean that the case will move to the next stage of being investigated. Investigations only take place if the police feel it's necessary to take a more detailed look into the case after looking at the information received. For example, if they feel that a possible criminal offence may have been committed. And that's when investigations actually begin, which is the next step that takes place in a criminal case. After investigations begin, the police will then start to collect and to compile evidence that helps them to understand whether a possible criminal offence may have taken place and then arrive at a decision whether to take any action against the possible offender. Investigations are not only limited to interviewing people, and it can actually include going to the scene of the crime to collect physical evidence, looking at photographs of the scene, studying reports prepared by various experts, including doctors, on any specific subject relating to the case. But interviews with witnesses and suspects in reality do take up a large part of the investigations. Interviews themselves can be conducted with a variety of people, such as the victim or the complainant, the suspect, of course, and also any eyewitness or person who can give useful information to the investigators to help them form the most complete picture of the incident, and whoever can help to give them a clear understanding of what exactly happened. After investigations have been completed, there'll be a crossroad in the case. The police could, on the one hand, decide to only give you a warning and not to take any further action, or they could, on the other hand, decide to formally charge you in court for the criminal offence. You can always try to intervene at this stage by taking some control of the matter into your own hands by writing a strong letter of appeal to the investigators to explain and clarify how they shouldn't conclude that you're responsible for the offence, such as by highlighting and pointing out important pieces of evidence that show that you may be innocent, or that there are other acceptable reasons why they should give you a second chance instead of charging you in court. If you're given a warning or the police decide not to take any further action against you, the criminal investigation and the case comes to an end. But if the authorities and investigators decide to prosecute you for the offence, then the case will continue with court proceedings, and that's the next step in the criminal case and process. When you've been charged in court, you can choose eventually either to challenge the charge at a trial, or alternatively you could decide to plead guilty and request for the lightest sentence feasible in your situation. Either way, you don't exactly need to make that decision immediately after you've been first charged in court, because there will be time given to you or your lawyers to organize the information and the evidence in your case to further appeal and explain to the prosecuting officers how you may not be involved in the offence, or you may not be as responsible as others are. And you can do this through writing letters or having your lawyers discuss the case with them. This is sometimes called plea bargaining or plea negotiation, where you or your lawyers communicate and essentially negotiate an alternative outcome that is fair for everyone. One key difference between simply sending letters of appeal and representation before investigations are closed and communicating with the prosecution after court proceedings have started is that discussions with the prosecution are not limited to written letters only, and they can also sometimes include face-to-face meetings, phone calls, discussions over video conferences. if you eventually decide to plead guilty, you'll need to be prepared to accept the punishment or the range of punishments that the court can give, even though you'll still have the opportunity to mitigate, meaning reduce your sentence by giving reasons in support of your request for something lower and lighter, both in terms of the type and the amount of punishment. On the other hand, if you don't plead guilty and choose to claim trial because you feel that there's not enough evidence to prove the allegations of wrongdoing against you, or because you feel you can prove your innocence at the trial, then the case will then move on to the next step in the case, with a criminal trial taking place for both the prosecution and you to present your evidence to the judge, who will then make a final decision which version to accept and whether to convict you or acquit you of the charge. So that's a brief snapshot and overview of the entire criminal case and process. So now you know. If you've enjoyed listening to this and would like to hear more, subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts and follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And remember, it's not rocket science. It's just legal things.